Okay, welcome back. This time we're going to talk a little bit about scanner, and we're going to talk a little bit about output too. So jumping into our slides again, we're looking at a file called numbers.txt, and it contains these numbers: 308.2, 14.9. You can see some of the white space here, and you can see the variation of numbers there. What I want you to see is the second bullet point, and this is the way that the scanner views input. And it views it as an input stream of characters. And so you can see that new line, those new lines there that indicate where the new lines are, and it also inputs the white space as well. So this is the way that the scanner reads that file data. And so what we're trying to do is we're going to consume some of those tokens using scanner. So each call to next int, next double, etc., that's going to advance the position of the scanner to the end of the current token. And it's going to skip over any white space too. So you can see the first call is going to grab 308.2, and then it's going to end there. It's going to skip over the new line and the white space and go to 14.9. And then it's going to go on and so forth, skip over the white space to 7.4 and continue on from there. So we're at an example here. We're going to this is a good place to, if you want, to pause the video and try out this problem on your own first. This is a great way to practice on your own, and I encourage you to do that. So the first problem is to write code that reads the first 5 double values from a file and prints it. How would you do that? Just a quick suggestion too, and we've done this in CS164 before, but if you have a notebook nearby, it might be good to write it in pseudocode first, and then maybe write out the syntax in the code and put it in your compiler. These are all really good ways to practice your coding and to practice for the test and study for the test as well. So looking at the solution, we are, again, I want you to notice the try and catch statements. So we are going to handle those exceptions using a try catch. We're going to handle that. But we're going to use this input.txt file in our object, and we are going to read that file, and we are going to do a for loop here, which is going to grab each of the next doubles in the file. So because we know how many numbers we're going to get from the file, we can use a for loop. So we're using an integer that starts at 0, and it's going to go as long as it's less than or equal to 4. Again, that's going to be 5, right? Because we're starting at 0, and then we're going to increase. We're going to grab the next double and put it into a double variable called next, and then we're just going to print that out at the end here. So this is one solution. You may have come up with something else too. So the second problem, again, you can pause your video here and try it out on your own, maybe writing it in your notebook. How would we modify the program to read all of the file? Now this is going to be really important for you because you may need to read all of the data from a file and then process it. That's pretty common in computer science, is processing data within an input file. So here's the second solution. So we're not just getting 5 pieces of information from the file. We're looking to process the entire file. So remember back when we talked about loops, we talked about the for loop being very useful when you know the number of iterations that you need to go through. Whereas a while loop is very useful when you don't necessarily know all of the iterations that you're going to go through. And in this case, it's even more true, because what we're doing is we're checking to see if there is a next double to get. And as long as there is a next double, then we're going to go through that condition. We're going to go through that loop. Okay, and it's just going to keep going through until there aren't any more doubles in the file. Okay. So this is a really great question, and this may be a question, this is a question actually I get in class a lot, and something that may be on your mind as well. But how do we modify the program again to handle files that also contain non-numeric tokens? So it doesn't just have doubles in there, and it may not even have integers, but it has strings and characters. And we want the program to skip those tokens. So if we look at this input here, you can see that we have a double, and then we have a string, and then we have a double, and then two strings, and then a double, and so on and so forth, and some characters, things like that. So if we're given this input file, how can we produce the same output as before? And once again, this is a good place to maybe pause the video, try it out on your own, modify some of the code that you've already seen, and you can go in and even test it out on your compiler and see if it works. So I'm going to go ahead and keep on going. So when we refine the program, you can see that we are going to check and see if there is a next double within the while loop. So we changed our while loop, so it's not just getting has next double, it's actually looking to see if there's something else in the file. So it's just checking has next, right? And then within this while loop we have a condition, so we're scanning to check if there is a next double, and if it is, then we're going to do the same thing that we did the last time, right? We're going to create this variable called next, which is of type double, and we're going to put that double in there that we found, and then we're going to print it out. The thing that changed though is that if it isn't a double that we're seeing as the next token, then it's something else. So we're going into this else part of the condition, and we are going to just consume that bad token. So we're just scan.next, going to the next one, and then we're going to check the next one and see what that is, if that's a next double, or if that's a double, or if it's something else, and just keep on going through consuming those bad tokens as we go. So this is the end of this section of our lecture series. We are going to continue in the next lecture with output.